Welcome to the GCN Tech Show. This week, I'm flying solo again. John was last seen entering a bike museum and hasn't been seen since. I hope he's okay. Anyhow, on this week's show, we have got some hot new carbon wheel tech, the bike vault, your upgrades, and our main talking point, which is how you can customize bike frames without breaking the bank or invalidating your warranty. Let's do it. We'll begin the show with our main talking point. Now, regular viewers will know that myself and John love custom paint jobs. They can look amazing, but there are a couple of downsides. Firstly, they can cost a lot of money. And secondly, they can invalidate your warranty on your bike. Now, admittedly, they do neither of those things if you get a custom paint job, say, for example, through Orbeyer's Mayo custom paint program. But many of you will have an existing bike that you might be wanting to custom paint, or you might want a bike from a brand that doesn't offer a custom paint service. In which case, what if I told you there was a way that you can have an exquisite pulchritudinous paint job? A custom paint job that is both cheaper and won't invalidate your warranty. Well, the future could be a vinyl wrap. Now, if you're into customizing cars, as some of you may be, then you will be familiar with vinyl wrapping. If you're not, it's a process that is very popular with cars and involves covering the individual body panels in a special sheet of vinyl wrap that's cut to size and then heat shrunk onto those panels. Using this kind of process, you can have pretty much any kind of finish you want. So an example would be the Bahrain Merida McLaren 570S that we saw at the Giro d'Italia, which had a wrap applied to it to give it the team colours of the Bahrain team. And if you've seen a matte black boy racer car with an antisocial exhaust cruising around your local neighbourhood, then that too probably has a wrap on it. We mentioned this process as a potential way of customizing bikes before on a previous tech show, and then we realized that there were some potential hurdles and challenges that would need to be overcome. So when you're wrapping a car, it's easy to hide the joins and the seams of the wrap inside the body panels out of view. But wrapping a bike is presumably much harder because the shapes are more complicated than most car body panels, and there's also lots of little details such as, cable stops sticking out and mounts where derailleurs go and things like that would be very difficult to wrap in a neat way using sort of conventional techniques you'd use on a car. There's also the added weight of the wrap. Now on a car, this makes negligible amounts of difference, but on a lightweight bike, adding, 400 grams could be hugely significant. However, I've done some searching on the internet, and I found that there are people who are starting to vinyl wrap bikes. One such example is Velo Wraps, who are based in California in the States. Check this out. That is a custom wrapped specialized Venge with this spectacular mirrored finish. I think it looks absolutely amazing. And according to Velo Wraps, that kind of finish does add weight, but significantly less than a conventional paint job. If you were to add mirrored paint like that, then that can add a lot of weight. I mean, you'd be typically looking at 300 to 400 grams for a finish like that. And according to Velo Wraps, the fork adds about 20 grams for that finish on the fork and 75 to 150 grams on the rest of the frame, which I'd say is competitive for a finish like that. Now, of course, there are those super light mega vapor coat style paint jobs that we've spoken about before, like Sunweb we're using at the Tour de France that only add a few grams, and Mark Cavendish has had them before on his bikes. But they're almost prohibitively expensive. They cost thousands and thousands of pounds. And as mentioned, wrapping has the advantage of not invalidating your warranty. The existing paint can just remain untouched underneath. And as an added bonus, the wrap can actually go some ways to protect that paint job underneath. So if you were to come to sell the bike, or if you wanted to honour your warranty, you can just remove the wrap and the paint is underneath. I was so excited by this, I emailed Velo Wraps and asked them to send us some pictures. So take a look at some of these other examples of things that they've done and can be achieved. So first up, we've got this really cool looking Cervelo P3 time trial bike. And the exciting thing for me on this bike is that they've not just wrapped the frame, they've also wrapped the wheels. So you've got that head GT3 tri-spoke at the front, and that's been wrapped in these Team USA colours, but it really shows what can be achieved. There's also this brilliant Franco bike here, which has this kind of, well, Trek call that kind of paint job unicorn blood. And I think it looks amazing. And it's really nice how that's been also done on the head wheel at the front there. But there's loads of options that can be done. And in terms of doing little details, they also sent a picture showing how they've wrapped around a small external cable housing guide as well, which is really cool. So what about the price? Well, I had a look on Velorap's website and they quote a price of $500 for a frame and fork with a short turnaround time of around 2 weeks. So while I have seen custom paint for less than that, I've never seen these kind of finishes for that kind of price. Normally a mirrored silver finish is really expensive and hard to achieve with normal paint. So that's really cool. But let us know what you think about wrapping bikes. Would you consider having your bike wrapped rather than custom painted? Do you think this is the future of customizing road bikes? And do you think we should get John to give it a go, to add to his bike customization palmares? Let us know in the comments. This week, we've got an exciting giveaway for you. 5 very lucky winners will each receive a brand new Hammerhead Karoo GPS bike computer. To enter, it's really simple. You just click on the link in the description down below and you'll be in with a chance. And we'll announce the winners in a future, as yet undisclosed GCN Tech Show. And in the meantime, if you'd like to find out more about the Karoo and what it can do, that rhymes, well, you can do, because I've made a video all about it. It's time now for Hot Tech. What's this? Breaking news. It appears that John Cannings has been located. He appears to be at the World Championships in Harrogate, Yorkshire.
Ollie, sorry I can't be with you again this week, but the good news is, my friend, is that I'm here in Harrogate in North Yorkshire, and whilst there's loads of bike riders kicking about, there is also quite a bit of tech for me to have a look at too. And one of the things which I'm most interested and keen to check out is the brand of Cadex, which I know you've already looked at, and I've seen some of their prototype products, but I've never seen any of the finished items. So I'm going to go in there, have a good old rummage around with these grubby hands, and I'll report back to you all exactly what I've found. See you soon.
Thanks, John. To be honest, I'm just glad that he's finally turned up safe and sound. Anyway, hot wheel tech now. Hunt have just launched some new wheels. They're called the Hunt 36 UD carbon spokes. As the name suggests, they're 36 millimeters deep with a full filament wound carbon fiber rim that's also tubeless ready, and they have carbon spokes. Now the cool thing about these is that Hunt reckons that makes them 31% stiffer than if they were built up the same but with steel spokes. The carbon spokes and filament wound rim also helps make them very light too. They're claimed to be just 1,295 grams a pair, which is really light, and they also have ceramic speed bearings in there too for that added bit of bling. Nice. Now, while on the topic of carbon wheels, Specialized has just extended the warranty of its Roval wheel sets. The warranty is now lifetime on Roval wheels for the original purchaser / owner, which I think is great. And if you buy a set second hand, then subsequent owners receive a 2-year warranty, which, well, I think that's really cool. And there's also a 2-year, not your fault crash replacement policy as well for riders in the USA. Hot, outrageous piece of brilliantly carbon custom lightweight bike tech of the week now. Check this out. While I was surfing the internet late at night, I came across this from Hop Carbon Parts DE in Germany. It is a carbon fiber battery cover for a Quark power meter, and it weighs just 2.5 grams. Look at that. Wowzers. I mean, it's hill climb season right now, Every gram counts, especially when you consider that the normal aluminium Quark battery cover weighs about 4 grams. Anyhow, more hot tech next week. Cha-ching! It's now time for Screw Riding Upgrades by Upgrades, where you submit pictures, videos, evidence, claymation animations, cave paintings of your upgrades that you've made to your bikes and equipment for a chance to win the ultimate prize, the GCN Camelback Eddy water bottle. Now, last week was a battle between James with his restoration, looked beautiful, and William with his Ibex. Now, the winner was James with 83%. Wallop. That was quite a comprehensive victory by James, but both were great upgrades. Bottles in the post. This week, we have got Chris from South Dakota, which is part of America, often described as having a flat accent, almost accentless. Although I do know someone from South Dakota who says caramel instead of caramel. Weird. Anyhow, Chris accidentally drove into his garage with his giant Defy 1 attached. He damaged the steerer and needed a new fork. Now, the replacement fork didn't match the rest of his bike, so Chris decided to take executive action. Chris got his Dremel out. Enough was enough. He upgraded the Shimano 105 on his Giant Defy to Ultegra Di2. To do this, he dremeled his frame internally to route the Di2 wires and also removed the now redundant external cable stops. Nice. He also dismantled the bike and had it sandblasted and repainted with a matte black powder coat. Well, powder coated rather than painted. Chris then added his own custom decals and giant logos. I mean, look at this. Absolutely superb. And I really like the contrast of the gloss logos that you've put on there, or decals, on the matte powder coat. It's really classy, really nice. I like that. Up against Chris from South Dakota is Michele from Bologna in Italy. And he's actually on the San Luca climb, which you may remember was stage 1 of this year's Giro d'Italia. There was a time trial up there. Lloydie did a preview on it, and we were both there. Nice. Now, Michele needed a bike for his 40-kilometre daily commute and also for winter training. I don't think he needs any winter training if his daily commute is 40 kilometres. Anyway, he found this beautiful Columbus Zerotre frame at a garage sale, or garage if you're Chris from South Dakota. But Michele sanded the frame and painted it himself with green metallic paint, and he did this like white splatter gradient finish on there. I mean, I've seen finishes like that at Red Hook Crit, and also Dr. Bobby at Colourburn Studios in Bristol has done finishes like that. But to say you've done that yourself and you're not even a custom painter, I'm impressed by that. That's really cool. And then he added some bomb-proof Mavic Open Pro rims, 28mm Continental Gator skins, which are bomb-proof tyres, ideal for winter training and commuting. And he put a 1x-SRAM Rival / Apex group set on there. Finished it with a steel quill stem and he polished the fork as well. He's also done his own, this is impressive, SRAM decals and also a Columbus rainbow logo on the seat tube as well. That is a stunner. Great work. Now, Michele does say that his OCD alarm is currently being set off by his bar tape. He's annoyed that it's not quite the same shade as the SRAM logo that he's put on there, and he asks for our advice. So, guys, be nice, but let rip in the comments section about Michele's bar tape colour. Personally, I'd go for black tape. You can't go wrong with black tape, and it'll match his saddle. There you go. Anyway, both are great upgrades, and I'm really impressed to see you both doing custom paint finishes on your bikes and doing that yourself, and also the little stickers and decals. That's amazing. I think it's going to be close this week, but it's not up to me. You guys decide. You can vote up there. It's now time for the Bike Vault, the moment you've all been waiting for, where you submit pictures or, I don't know, videos if you want, of your bikes, and we judge them to be either nice or super nice. If they're super nice, then they get submitted into the Bike Vault for eternity, and we signal that by ringing the bell. John normally rings the bell, but he's not here this week. Let's grab the bell. This is the bell. Okay, let's begin. First up this week, we have got Olivier. That's the French version of my name. Olivier is in Ontario, Canada. Great sweet corn in Ontario, Canada, if you ever visit. And he's got his giant Propel SL0. That is a stunner. And he's done everything. He's taken his bottles off, crank in 3 o'clock position, wheel valve stems lined up, no excess steerer above the steerer tube. His bike's clean, biggie smalls. Oh, no saddlebag, nice background. You can clearly see the bike. That lake looks amazing. Do you know what? Textbook Bike Vault. Super nice. Right, let's see what's next. Greg has his BMC time machine, or team machine, and he says the location is Tranquility Base on the moon. Yeah. Now, I think there's a few problems with this one. Firstly, the crank is not quite in the 3 o'clock position. It's sort of in the 20 past 3 position. And he's not in biggie smalls. And he's also not got any pedals on his bike or aligned his valve stems. Nice. Nice try. Next up, we have Arno, who's in the Netherlands doing a mountain bike trail. And he has his Canyon Grail SL Di2, but he's customized the wheels on there. I've got a Canyon Grail. Blummin' love that bike. It's so much fun. And I like yours too. You've got bigger tires on than I've got on mine. And I'm amazed at how clean it is, especially seeing as you're doing a mountain bike trail. But that looks great. And you've changed the saddle on there as well. Well, let's have a look. Right, biggie smalls, tick. It's clean, tick. You've removed your accessories, tick. Valve stems, sort of aligned. I mean, I think I've been a bit harsh in the Bike Vault the last few weeks. I really like that bike. I think that it's a super nice. I'll ring the bell. There we go. Next up, we have Marek with his S-Works Tarmac SL6. He's in Slovakia, in Storovo. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced. Sorry, Marek. Let's have a look at his bike. There you go. Blooming hell, there's a lot of people been watching the video on how to get in the Bike Vault. I sense Marek's one. He's lined up his wheels. He's got a gold chain on there. I mean, he's done a good job there. Looks like a nice city as well in the background. That's a really nice Tarmac SL2. Classic Tarmac, that was, the one that style of Tarmac frame was the one that just won like every Grand Tour with sort of Vincenzo Nibali and Contador and all those guys. Nice. You know what? I think it's a super nice. Next up, we've got Jason in Pangbourne in the UK, who's taken a picture of his Trek Madone SLR, brand new bike in red, weirdly in front of a load of Lamborghinis at Pangbourne Lamborghini dealership. Why would anyone do that? I mean, why has he cluttered up the background of the photo with that weird green Lamborghini Huracan Spider? just don't understand why anyone would... What a weird place to take a picture of your bike. And his shadow's in shot. Nice. Anyway, finally this week, we've got Vaughan. Oh my, wow, oh my days. Oh my days. That would appear to be the concrete spillway of the Matai Dam, constructed by Nelson City Council in 1986 in New Zealand. Well, the Matai Dam in New Zealand was, of course, first constructed in 1984, finished in 1987 at a total cost of 9.7 million New Zealand dollars. It has a height of 36 metres and the length of the crest at the top is 140 metres. The fill volume of the dam is 272,000 cubic metres of water. Nice volume. But that in particular is the stunning and exquisitely designed concrete spillway, which impressively has a flow capacity of 125 cumecs. That, of course, being cubic metres per second. Which corresponds roughly, of course, to a 100-year flood event. Should events larger than this occur, then an unlined auxiliary channel does exist in those events. But absolutely superb piece of hydro engineering there, I'm sure you'll agree. Super nice. More Bike Vault next week. That's it for this week. It's the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you appreciate our content and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by subscribing and also clicking the bell icon down below to get notifications. It really does help. And also, if you'd like a GCN hoodie like this one I'm wearing, this is the navy blue one. It's my favorite with the white logo, classic. Then you can get them in the GCN shop too. And to watch a video on why I chose rim brakes and not disc brakes, it was a deliberate choice, then you can do so by clicking down here. Bye.